Alright. I know what you're thinking. Another Mob Psycho video? Yes, another Mob Psycho video. The finale was simply that incredible. Everything from the build up, to the hype character moments, to the very last frame. It was all incredible. So, before I delve into Mob Psycho's ending, spoiler warning for Mob Psycho Season 3. If you haven't seen this anime yet, I urge you to give it a try. I think it completely deserves the title of a modern masterpiece, and it's gonna go down as one of the best series in this medium in general due to the adaptation it got. Anyways, let's talk about Mob Psycho itself. Man, I really wasn't sure how the series was going to end in a satisfying manner, even halfway through this final season, as we had random episodes of being isekai'd into an alien world, and I was sitting here thinking we'd get some random slice of life ending, but boy was I wrong. The last 3 episodes of Season 3 of Mob Psycho were some of the best stretches of anime I've watched in general, and I couldn't help but feel amazed by the masterclass I was witnessing in front of my eyes with each coming episode. You see, Mob Psycho's always been a series where a lot of major conflicts end with Mob utilizing his powers to save the day. During this process, he usually has a heart-to-heart with the antagonist at hand. Said antagonist is usually struggling with their identity as a psychic and how and where they should use their powers, from trying to take over the world to just simply finding other psychics to fight to give a good battle. Mob's always running into his fair share of weirdos. Although it may seem a little repetitive just based off of description, Mob's able to do this in a different way every single time that hits hard. Combine this with his question mark mode that is based off of different emotions, and we get to see Mob change the mentality of antagonists through a soft nature that's always rejecting the overly powerful beast inside of him. However, for the finale of this show, we got to see Mob go through the motions, except this time in the opposite direction. Instead of Mob being the one to save others from their desires and power, he's the one who needs to be saved from, well, himself. And we see this as past antagonists show up to stop him when his psychic self takes over and begins to lay waste to the city. It was really heartwarming seeing members of Claw step forward and try to stop Mob from having his powers overwhelm him and end up harming innocents, even if they claimed it was to protect some convenience store and it came at the cost of their own safety and lives. Also, seeing characters from the Suzuki family show up and attempt to stop Mob despite being criminals was really nice to see, especially from Toichiro, who finally began to see the importance of valuing his family and not tossing it away for the sake of power just for Mob. Seeing Mob's usual self helpless and sobbing inside of his own body was really heartbreaking, but I couldn't help but also see where his psychic powers were coming from. It was an instance where we got to see the direct consequences of how ignoring part of oneself can end up taking over you and result in actions that you usually wouldn't do, such as in Mob's case, becoming a brainless destruction machine. The build up for how Mob got into this state in the first place was also really well done. I love how it took different characters telling him to reevaluate why he even liked Tsubomi in the first place. Despite Mob Psycho's wacky antics, in moments like these, it genuinely conveys a good message, pushing Mob to take action and also letting him know that just working out won't get him the girl of his dreams were all realistic paths to take, and they were all conveyed extremely naturally. Although it's kinda crazy how Tsubomi really is Miss Bitches. Quite literally everyone wants to get with her. Like damn! Her charisma's gotta be next level. Anyways, back to Mob, and onto the subject I know everyone was on the edge of their seat for. Reigen. Reigen and Mob have always had an interesting student-teacher relationship, as usually in these kinds of dynamics, the teacher, teaches the student how to get stronger and develop their skills. That's what I thought was going to happen when I first met Reigen, but now that the series has wrapped up, I can safely say it was the complete opposite in the best way possible. And all of this build-up between the two of them, with Reigen going from wanting to just using Mob's spiritual powers to advising him in all walks of life, finally paid off in the final episode, with Reigen finally admitting that he is indeed the greatest fraud Salt City has ever seen. I was so hyped seeing Reigen desperately running after Mob after he had lost control, proclaiming that he had trained for it, and when the first opening kicked in, I was screaming in hype. Never did I ever think I'd get this hyped over Fraud Master 3000, but here I was, seeing him desperately struggle to retrieve the student that he had gotten so close with. Seeing Reigen cry like that for Mob was really something, and the way this scene was animated let us know that tremendous weight that was lifted off of Reigen's shoulders after he told Mob about his grand facade. It was an absolutely perfect conclusion to both of their characters, and I really loved how Mob got initially rejected by Tsubomi, but they're still working on building a stronger relationship with each other before they date. Seeing Mob finally accept his powers as a part of him that wasn't just evil mayhem was lovely, and the smile he had on the end may or may not have brought a tear to my eye. I also really love how the side characters moved on, with Ritsu becoming vice president and Tome working for Reigen. Reigen himself got a phenomenal send-off, going from someone who drank and lived life generally alone, as we saw in Season 2, to someone having an entire group of people throw him a surprise party. Ah, man, I'm feeling nostalgic about this already. I love Mob Psycho. I really do. And after this ending, I firmly believe this is a must-watch for any anime fan. Thank you, Mob. Thank you, Reagan. Thank you, Bones, and thank you, One. We won't see an adaptation like this for a long time, so I want y'all to know that it's gonna take a while before this masterclass by Bones is topped again.